Welcome back to Today. We've all heard the saying breakfast is the most important meal of the day, and there's lots of options out there, from eggs to cereal and so many types of bread.
Many types of bread. But what's actually good for you, and how can you create the ultimate breakfast of champions? And to help us out, nutrition scientist Dr. Joanna McMillan joins us in studio. Jo, good to see you.
Good morning.
It feels like such a cliche that breakfast is the most important meal of the day. Is it actually true?
No, it's not true.
Thanks for coming. See you later.
End of the segment.
Yeah.
No, look, I say every meal's important. You know, what is important is that you get your nutrients in. Whatever, you know, some people don't like eating breakfast. Some people love breakfast. It's what they get out of bed for. So honestly, what is important is that you hit your nutrients across the course of the day. So breakfast can be a great opportunity to set you up for really good eating for the day.
Yeah.
So for some people, it really works well. And we do have some research around people who eat a healthy breakfast tend to have healthier foods for the rest of the day. So from that perspective, but honestly, if you're not a breakfast eater, then just think about, how do I get these nutrients in when I do choose to eat, whether it's at lunchtime or whether it's a late morning kind of brunch. That's entirely up to you.
Okay, so that's a sign that if you wake up and you don't feel like eating, that's not a problem.
No, some people just genuinely don't.
Yeah.
I would check what time are you eating in the evening. So sometimes if people are late night snackers and they're eating until they go to bed and you're really not hungry in the morning, then I would check because that's associated with weight gain and all sorts of other metabolic things and can impact your sleep. But if you are genuinely not eating after dinner and you've done that proper overnight fast, if you're just not hungry in the morning, then wait and eat when you are.
All right, I know we've got lots of brekkie options here. Let's talk about hitting that nutritional quota. And fibre is obviously the big one. Bread, people often assume that it has the most fibre. What are the best options?
So the two things I'm going to pick out is fibre and protein. Right. So don't forget that bread is actually a pretty good source of protein too, but we'll come to the protein foods as to what to pair with your bread. So when you're looking at supermarket breads here, you can take a choice. The words you're looking for are whole grain or whole meal. Those are your choice. Be careful with multigrain, because often multigrain breads are mostly white bread with a few grains or seeds thrown in.
Oh, so, I did not know that.
Yeah, so they can be. Sometimes multigrain just means it's a combination of rye and wheat and other things, but very often it's mostly a white bread with a few grains and seeds.
Cheeky.
So it's a bit of a step up from a purely white bread, but not the same thing as wholemeal or whole grain. I'm a big fan of sourdough, so we've got some lovely sourdoughs, and the supermarkets now are getting better at having sort of commercially available sourdough. I love to use the local sourdough bakery, but it can be a lot more expensive. And then I've even got some people just love white bread. So if you really love white bread, this is Australian innovation. It's a high fibre grain where the fibre is actually in the whole kernel of the grain. So you end up with a white bread that's still high fibre. So that's a really good one to look for.
All right, moving down the line.
Yeah, look, don't the ease of a breakfast cereal. I think sometimes people worry that, oh, this is ultra-processed food and is it not good for us? But if you make the right choices, then breakfast cereals, mueslis, granolas, these are super easy. And especially for people with kids. You know, once kids reach a certain age, from quite young, they can start helping themselves to some cereal. So what I would say is look for the high fibre options. The Health Star rating, you know, when you see this on pack, the Health Star rating is not, it works really well for cereals because it will give you those higher fibre choices. And you pair this with milk, with yogurt, you put some berries or other fruit on top, you've got a really good high fibre, high protein brekkie.
It can be deceptive though, because some of them are marketed as being really healthy option, but they're packed with sugar as well. That's another thing to keep an eye out for.
Absolutely, but the Health Star rating is actually taking sugar into account. So, and I do, to give them their dues, the breakfast cereal companies have got very good at taking out a lot of salt and sugar. So there are still those very sugary cereals out there, but they're normally fairly obvious. Where to watch it is more in the granolas. So you want to look at the sugar level in there, or look for, you know, the couple of ones that I've got on set here actually state it's got low sugar. So that's what you want to look for. High fibre, low sugar.
And if you don't want to do cereals, you're not really feeling like bread, what are our other best healthy options?
Yeah, so what you also want to make sure is that you've got plenty of protein. Getting protein early in the day can help with appetite control, and then you're eating less for the rest of the day. So there's something called the protein leverage hypothesis, is the little science term. And that is about you've got a certain threshold of protein to get to, and your brain's going to keep driving you to eat until you get there. So getting protein earlier in the day can really help if you're struggling with feeling hungry all day or feeling like you're overeating. So don't forget dairy. I think we sometimes forget that dairy and meat and those animal foods are great sources of protein. If you don't eat dairy, we've got yogurt here, we've got milks, but also things like halloumi and feta. We've got eggs, of course. If you want a plant-based milk, soy is your best bet usually for protein. And look, I've even got some Scottish smoked salmon.
Oh, there you go.
Just need to find someone to just put this all together
Couldn't
and
resist.
make us breakfast. Joanna McMillan, you are the ultimate guide. Thank you so much.
Thank you for
Have a
having
Merry
me.
Christmas.
Thank you.
Thanks, Joe.
Just ahead for you, why Queensland Police are leaving the force at record rates.
Plus, what R360's shock delay means for potential NRL defectors.
And Paddington Bear talks everything fashion. Didn't know Paddington talk. Talks everything fashion during his special Vogue interview. That's coming up right here on Today.
How did you get